Hello everybody, another update today from Valheim, but something a little bit different. They've released a video, which is them, like three of their developers, just kind of having a bit of a chat. They call it the Fireside Chat. Quite a nice touch, actually, and a very enjoyable video. I will put a link to the full video down in the video description, but it was over half an hour long, so today's video that I'm making, rather than talking about every little thing, it's going to be like a bit of a too long didn't watch kind of video, where we're just going to go over some of the things that they said, some of the sort of key highlights and stuff. But I do highly recommend watching the original one because it is very interesting and gives you a lot of insight and kind of behind the scenes about the Hearth and Home update. So if you guys want to get involved in any of my upcoming Hearth and Home related events, like my new server or the subathon I'm doing on the weekend, anything like that, links in the description for all that stuff, particularly my Discord. That's where I kind of promote this stuff so that it doesn't drive everybody crazy. And also, I will, of course, be making a lot more videos and stuff once the update is out, more tutorials and all that good stuff. Now, just to say, on the Iron Gate video, I noticed there's a bit of echo sometimes when they're talking. I did check everything. It's not me. It is actually the video, so there's not much I can do about that. Hopefully it's not too bad for you guys, but let's jump in and see what they've got to say.
What is Hearth and Home really? Like, what was the initial idea, and what did it eventually become?
Well, yeah, that's a pretty tough question to answer. It was originally thought to be just us tweaking the food system and adding some missing food recipes, I believe.
Yeah.
And then it kind of exploded into something much more.
So I just want to quickly kind of stop at this little point. I think it's interesting to note this, right, because a lot of people have complained about the update, but as you can see from what Robin said there, it is clearly, or it was clearly originally going to be a very small update, and then it exploded, I guess, because the game exploded. And that's why it took them a bit longer to make a bigger update than what was originally planned. So people who are complaining about this is going to be a small update, I think it's a lot bigger than it was going to be, and I think we should be thankful for that. Obviously, the proof will be when we're playing the game, because none of us know the full extent of the update yet, but I just thought that was an important point.
But it was actually just starting with, we need new recipes, we need to balance food throughout the biomes. For example, like mountains is a place where it's very barren landscape with no food or survivability.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so another interesting point there from Richard, who says about how mountains currently are quite barren with very little survivability. The reason this is interesting is one would assume then they are looking to add some sort of new food source in to the mountain biome, or at least some of the resources you can get from there. My guess would be the ice cream thing, right? As that's kind of ice cream, cold, whatever, it kind of goes with it. But also led me to thinking whether in the future there could be some Valheim challenge series that I myself might even get involved in, whether it's like surviving Valheim in one biome, maybe even beating the game, only gathering resources from one biome or something like that. Could be fun to work out, kind of a little bit off topic, but then I don't want to just repeat what they're saying in this video, because you guys could just watch their video, so I thought I'd make a note of that. As always, guys, love to hear your comments in the comments about what you think might be going on here.
If we just look at the shingle roof, that is something that has been like a work in progress for forever, because we talked about that, was it like last year?
I mean, yeah, we had a prototype long before we released the original early access version.
So just to pause here to say I am probably more excited than I should be about this shingle roof. Actually, kind of just by chance, it really nicely tied in with my build plan for Kysen in the new season. The type of builds and stuff I want to do, having this other type of roof is going to really help with that, so I was very excited for that. It's a small thing. I like the building though myself personally, and I think this gives a ton of extra better aesthetical options, obviously particularly with roofs, but it'd be interesting to see what some other things they could use. So I've got a few ideas for that as well. But are you guys excited for the building aspects of this game or not? How much do you enjoy building? I'd love to know, guys. Let me know.
I think a big misconception is a lot of the times like, just put in some more enemies. But the thing is, like, you put in one enemy, you have to have drops from that enemy. Those drops have to become something. So just putting in an enemy is just it sounds small, but it's big.
So I think that's a fair comment to an extent. However, I've talked about Minecraft before. I've played Minecraft right the way through. And in the past, what they've done with new mobs they've added into that game is when you kill them, they either don't drop anything at that stage, other than they would give things like experience maybe, or they'd drop an item that was relatively useless in the game. Now, this I think is something that will separate people, and so I'd love to really get your guys' thoughts on this. Would you like to see mobs added in to Valheim that drop things that were maybe not currently being used, and they were there just for the sake of like their extra mobs in game that you can fight, right? Extra enemies in game that you can fight and kill and whatever, just to give more enemies to fight? Or do you think no, they should stick to the plan of what they're saying there, right? Just keeping enemies that have drops that are used for something, so that everything in the game has a purpose when it comes in. Which side do you think they should go with? I can argue it both ways. I'm the sort of person, I'm going to support whatever they do with the game, but that would be my opinion. That I think, I could see how you could potentially add in mobs that had drops that don't necessarily need to be used.
No, but the thing is also, I've seen people saying stuff like, "Oh, they're nerfing certain things," because we really went in and rebalanced, and every food is changed, and enemies are changed. All the enemies, because I've seen that people say like, "Oh, they're nerfing food; it's going to be tougher." That's not what we did. we balanced the enemies to the food and the biomes and the weapons and the armor, so it has to work.
Okay, so they talked about a few things there that I think are important to mention. One of the biggest one being that this is more of a rebalancing with this update, rather than it being like a content-driven update where there's just like tons of new things to do and explore and build with and whatever. I think it makes sense, right, if you're going to do a rebalancing update like this, to do it early on in its development, like they are doing, and then once I guess that's right in their minds, then they can push on with other things and add more content. The other thing that they mentioned there is, everybody's talking about things that have been like nerfed and whatever, but they're not thinking about that in terms of the whole balancing of the game. And I think I was guilty of that actually. In a previous video, I was talking about the bow in kind of like a fun way, because I was saying about how I'm such a combat noob. So I was just using the bow to get out of sticky situations, and I was like a little bit sad that it had been nerfed. Not really, just jokingly. But yeah, so I think that's a good point as well. Like again, this is why in the video I did about the defense of Valheim taking a while to update and stuff, I was like, we should really wait for that update before we comment, because it's all about playability, right? It's when you're playing, how does it feel? It's not about absolute values of food or stamina on food or whatever. It is about how it factors in with everything else. And they have said they've worked hard on getting this balancing out right, so I guess we'll see when we play it. But I thought those were good points, so I thought I'd just stop it there.
But that's something that I think is super important to let everybody know, that when I'm talking to Richard, it's always like, what is Richard's vision? How do we get that true? It's always going to be like, how do we get Valheim to be the best Valheim could be in Richard's vision? Always. And if that means like hammering down certain nails a bit tougher, so be it, because we're not here to make a generic everybody loves this game kind of thing. We never made this game for everybody. We made this for a very, very small specific audience.
I think that is really, really important. There's an old expression that has always kind of resonated with me, which says that a camel is a horse designed by a committee, and the point of that being that nothing can be as pure or as perfect as someone's vision for what they want for something, in this case a game. And if there's too much community input, I do actually think that's a bad thing. I think community input is great. It gives a great sense of the overall feel to like what maybe we could add or remove from a game to improve it, and I'm sure the developers do look at all that stuff and factor that in. But when someone has a vision, I mean, it becomes this work of art in that person's mind. You're never going to please everybody. I mean, Valheim has had incredible success. So clearly, in my opinion, this vision is on the right trajectory. Maybe a few minor tweaks here and there as we go forwards. But I think that's really important to remember that, and I said this in the update video, the defense video I made, they're not making this video for me or for the community or whatever. Like, this is just about them having this path that they think is right. And I think that's an important point that we should kind of get behind and go, yep, it's fair enough that they're kind of following the path and sticking true to their original vision, and that is commendable.
Well, you can expect to, I think you're going to notice changes in how you make choices in food. Basically, that's what we want you to do. But I don't know, it's still going to be the same Valheim. I'm hoping like if everything works out correctly, people are just going to be super mad that it feels good. Like, you didn't do anything. but we did.
Okay, so kind of an interesting one there. He wants everybody to feel like they didn't do anything, but actually they did. Again, I think that just comes back to, it's about the balancing of the game and the stuff behind the scenes. And I think, expectations-wise, as a community, we need to realize this isn't going to be big. They've said this so many times now. The more that you're going to expect from this, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. My personal opinion is the game is fantastic, and I love the game. I love it as it is. It's not that I'm not very excited for the future updates that they'll bring out when there are things like new bosses and more adventure to the game and whatever. I mean, I think that will be amazing, of course. But having said that, I still love playing the game. I still get very excited about starting a new world or doing new things in that world for the first time. So hopefully, it's still going to be. Oh, it will. It'll still be for me. It'll still be a very enjoyable game, and hopefully the community responds well to it. And I guess it's just about making the most of what we get for now until the next update comes out.
With all of these changes that you're talking about, what is that going to mean for players who are already have their huge builds and their worlds that they have dedicated a lot of time to? Because the question we get a lot is, are people going to have to start a new world, or is their existing builds, are they going to be deleted? What do we actually know about that right now?
No. Most likely you can just continue play as if any other small patch, and you will be able to experience the new content organically without any special thing you need to do. And you can continue play in your old world and continue, enjoy the game. When you start a new patch, the existing world, your explored areas of the game will not be changed. To get the new content, you have to explore new areas. For example, we added some new locations to the plains biome, and if you have already explored parts of the plains biome, those areas will not be changed, but you will have to go to unexplored areas to find the new things.
Yep.
We added.
Okay, so this has been a big question. I've got a lot actually on my channel and haven't really been able to answer until now. Just what they said, will things change? So they've answered that and explained that, without repeating too much about what they said. It's about the new areas that you'll need to go to get the new items. That makes sense, right? I think it's how a lot of games have gone. Minecraft always did the same thing. When new updates came out, you had to go to unexplored areas to get the new bits and bobs in. I think that's fine, particularly for a game that's this early. It makes sense. I mean, I envisage future updates where you'll kind of need to basically start all over again. And I think, I get it. People have done some big builds and things that you don't want to lose. But for a game that's this early, you're always going to need to, build everything with that in mind, that maybe one day you have to start again. Me personally, I love starting again. So I think, it's kind of cool. But what do you guys think about that as the answer? Because again, this is something that's come up a lot. If you're one of those people, how do you feel about that, the answer that they've given there, again, without me repeating that, as to how that's going to work?
I think that's where you're going to feel like, this is pretty much like it was before, but we wanted to make it a bit more deep, so you could actually someone who is a bit of a base builder, who doesn't enjoy combat as much, might actually benefit from going with more HP food to be able to stay alive in the fights, or actually just pick up and tank certain enemies now. Just bring your tower shield, which is really, really nice, because the HP of what you eat actually affects the new stagger meter.
So I think a couple of things they've said there interesting. One is about this more dynamic fighting style. You have to think about the choices a little bit more with the food. Sort of tailor them to your specific way, your strengths, your weaknesses, which is cool. But also, with the difference in food now, I think if you're looking to just do a big build project in vanilla, Valheim, you're going to be able to basically choose foods that make sense for that. And that really makes sense, because at the end of the day, this game can be completed relatively quickly. If you wanted to rush it, you could easily complete it within a few days of playing, maybe a week or so, if you're playing casually. And by complete it, I mean kill all the bosses, right? But I think the game and the community has evolved so much beyond that, and the building has become this huge thing. So to be able to do big builds and big farming, that sort of stuff, and prioritize the stamina, so you can do that when you don't need tons of HP, because you're not fighting, you're just building. I think that makes a lot of sense. What do you guys think about that? I'd love to hear what you think, but to me, I think it's a good thing.
But some of these new weapons have been spotted in some of the spotlights, maybe not addressed, but they have been there. How much have we actually shown from the update, and how much is still going to be a surprise for players to discover as they go?
Maybe 50% or something.
That's a super difficult question to answer, as that's going to heighten their expectations a lot.
Yeah.
No,
But if we say like this instead, why do we want to keep stuff secret?
Yeah, I mean, originally we didn't actually want to show anything and just, drop the update and have players discover everything by themselves. But then Hearth and Home update took a bit longer to make than originally planned, so we figured maybe we should just share some stuff with the community.
Okay, so this question is something that has been on my mind since the update videos. Exactly that. How much are they showing us? Is it the tip of the iceberg, or is it the majority of what's going on? And Richard there said he thinks about 50%. Robin's very non-committal. I think, again, it's about managing expectations of the community. They're worried about getting us too hyped up for it. But I think what we can glean from that is there is definitely going to be a good amount of content that they haven't touched on yet that we'll kind of figure out for ourselves. And the best way to probably figure all that stuff out is to watch my videos, of course. Jokes aside, of course, I will be covering all the new stuff I can find. But yes, I'm very excited to like look through and see all the new stuff I can find. And I guess it's fair enough that they've shown us only not all of it, right? So there's still going to be some stuff coming.
also, can I just say that this is not an MMORPG where we actually need to retain players? This game is just spoiler alert. This game will eventually have an ending. It will end sometime. There will be a definitive ending where you beat the game.
So that made me very sad to think that this game will one day end. I was hoping that the game would go down the route of being a bit like Minecraft, where there's never going to be an end to it, or at least not a foreseeable end, and it's just going to keep updating as it goes on. But it seems like they actually want there to be an end to the game, which Valheim 2? End Valheim? Start Valheim 2? What do we think? Who knows? It's still early access. I guess that's open to possibly changing. I just love the game, right? I feel like the potential for this game is all but infinite, right? I mean, the amount of things you could do with it. So I hope they continue to develop it at least for a very long time, because I would be sad if this game ever ended. That being said, there's a lot of games out there that you can complete and you can still play like for a long, long time, right? I mean, people are still playing Pokemon, like Yellow on Game Boy and stuff, and getting a lot of people watching them on stream. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the community's going to die or whatever. But it did make me a little bit sad. What about you guys? Do you think that's a good thing, or would you, like me, rather see it as like an ongoing thing, like forever?
I hope that a lot of people will enjoy playing it. I hope that you will see it through different eyes when you go through this time, and by making your choices and see if this actually works. I mean, this is something we're trying out as well. It's like, this could all change. But I'm just hoping that people will enjoy it. It's going to be the same old Valheim, but with more choices.
I have a point there. I really hope people will, instead of just continue playing with their own worlds, actually create a new world and start from the beginning, because we added and changed so much. So to get the best experience, that's probably what you should do.
I have to say, it's personal opinion, but I do really agree with that. I'm really looking forward to starting over again in the game, and I think it does make sense. There's new things now, there's new balancing acts and whatever, and from starting again here with this new dynamic of the game, you'll play the game a lot differently. I mean, from a content creation point of view, I've already been thinking there's probably been a lot of videos I've already made that I'm actually going to have to make like updated versions of, because things are going to change in the game. I mean, just the food alone changing, that changes a lot of stuff. A lot of content I made ties in with food. Like, if you're going to fight this boss, this is the food state. If you can go do this biome, this food will help you and such. And now that's probably going to change. And the reason I mention that up, obviously not everyone's making content, but when you guys are playing it, my content is designed to help people playing it. So when you're playing it, it ties in, right? That's what you're going to do. You're going to use these certain foods or do this certain thing. So I definitely think starting a new world is good. I would love to know in comments like a rough idea as well from you guys, like how many of you are like, yeah, I'm definitely starting a new game, versus how many are like, no, I really want to, just continue on my current world. If you don't mind taking a bit of time to let me know, and also why you're starting a new world, or why you're going to keep your existing one. It's always great to get feedback from you guys on this sort of thing, and I'd be genuinely interested.
Play fresh.
Yeah.
be fresh, play fresh. Thank you.
And on that note, I think we're going to put out the fire.
No, well, time to go to bed, I guess.
Yeah.
Slay some grey dwarfs tomorrow.
Yeah. There's a troll over there. Bye, guys.
Bye. Oh my God, he's coming here.
Bye.
Alright guys, so there you have it, just a quick overview of the video released by Valheim developers. As I say, the link to the full video is down in the description if you guys want to check that out. I thoroughly enjoyed sitting down for half an hour and watching that, and commenting on it as well. So looking forward to a new Valheim adventure with all of you, and hopefully we'll move on to all kinds of new content, new things going on. I've got a lot of plans, and I look forward to hanging out with you guys in my streams, all that sort of stuff as well. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.